Hey everybody, it's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. I thought I'd do a quick update tonight because we're seeing a few trends in the guidance for the upcoming Friday system, which is good news for snow lovers around Charlotte. I think there's going to be at least a higher chance of seeing some snow, possibly minor accumulations, and I'll explain more here in a minute. But you can see our system beginning to take shape. And what's interesting is one of the things I'm watching tonight is how much of this upper low, you could see it up to the north there. I actually grabbed the wrong thing. Let me grab that real quick and slide it back. That was weird. I actually almost moved it completely off camera. I was trying to grab my telestrator there. So you can see right there is the upper low. That's where the snow is reaching the ground. There's actually a couple counties under winter storm warning there in the Ozarks there in northern Arkansas. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds there because that could foretell what's going to be happening down the road as it gets closer to us. A real quick update on the winter storm warnings, or watches I should say, they're not warnings yet. You see the counties generally Interstate 40. Now, if you're not in the watch right now, it doesn't mean you could not be upgraded to a warning or advisory at some point. We're still a whole 24, 36 hours away from this, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rowan County added, and some of these counties in here may be upgraded to a winter weather advisory. But right now, that's kind of the look of where we are as far as the watches, which go all the way down into northern Georgia. And you can kind of see that's the orientation. That's where we have the highest confidence. One thing about these issuing these products, it's not so much about, that's the only place we think there's going to be snow. It's where there's the highest confidence right now in accumulating snows of at least 2 to 3 inches possible. So let's get right to the unfolding part and some of the new information coming in tonight. What's interesting is the low pressure seems to be a little bit stronger and a little bit further south, just by a hair. And if you remember yesterday I talked about this, a subtle shift to the south could drag the rain-snow line south, and that's kind of what we're seeing. This subtle shift to the south means more of the North Carolina Piedmont could be under that pool of cool air aloft, and you can actually see more snow, especially on the back side of this Friday. Friday afternoon and evening, there could be a really nice burst of snow on the tail end of this as it moves up the coast. Now, I was working on this new product tonight, and I got to explain it because what I was trying to do here is show where it's below 32 degrees at 5,000 feet. That's 850 millibars for the weather geeks out there. So those areas in pink are where typically it's cold enough that we could get snow down to the surface. So I plotted the future radar and that height at 5,000 feet of 32 degrees in pink. And what I'm looking for is where does the precipitation in that area in pink overlap? That's where the air is cold enough in the mid and upper levels to possibly produce snow. And you can see in the mountains, obviously the elevation helps them out. They're below 32 degrees because most of that elevation is putting you pretty close to that. But look what happens on Friday morning. That pink line, which is essentially going to be the rain-snow line, creeps pretty far south into the upstate. You notice down in here it's pretty far south, but it's getting a little closer to Charlotte. And I'm going to go into the future even more. And you can see Friday afternoon, it's just to our north. It's really close. But watch what happens Friday evening. That pink area moves all the way through. So there's that crossover right there late Friday afternoon, right about that time frame where over Charlotte, we've got the cold air and the moisture there. So what that looks like in the good old-fashioned future cast, which I show you all the time, that was a little weather geeky, I understand, but that's kind of some of the things I like to look at to see where we get that overlap. One of the things you'll notice on Friday morning is the temperatures, are briefly in the mid-30s. So the rain-snow line's getting closer to Charlotte in the morning, but I think the real chance of snow on Friday is going to be right here. Friday afternoon into the evening. Look at that. That is a change. That is much more of a snow chance there at the tail end. Now, again, how long does that last? A lot of it's going to be melting. The temperature's 38, and it's going to try to snow. That usually means wet snow, or basically what I call white rain because it falls, but it doesn't stick. But if it falls heavy enough there, we could get a quick burst of snow Friday afternoon and evening. So I've made some minor adjustments to the snowfall map. I'm actually bringing the trace to 1 inch amount down to almost the state line, at least down to Carowinds, Fort Mill, Pineville area. So the chance of accumulating snows are increasing to a trace to 1 inch across Metro Charlotte. Maybe not much farther south than that. I brought the 1 to 2 a little farther south, and the 2 to 4 a little bit farther south. The overall totals haven't changed. I basically have just pulled everything to the south a little bit based on the change in the guidance that I'm seeing tonight. And I was showing this probability chart that I'll show again tonight at 11 to kind of show you Metro Charlotte. And I'm going to remove my head here for a second so it's not in the way. Right now, the highest chance for Charlotte is a trace to 1 inch at 55%, 20% chance of 0. There's a 20% chance this could go up to 1 to 2, and still 4% for 2 to 4. And if we boom, maybe 1% chance over 4 inches. I do think one of the trends I'm seeing is this trend in here is something to watch tomorrow. Trace to 1 inch seems more likely. And the reason I think I would still stick with the trace to 1 inch is because one of the factors going into my thinking on a lot of this is, we'll go back to this because I think this tells you a lot. You know, people look at snowfall maps and snow charts, and people will post them online, and they'll immediately go, oh, look at all that snow over Charlotte. It's 38 degrees. Yes, it can snow at 38 degrees. It has a tough time sticking. So if you take the fact that it's 38 degrees, there's certainly going to be rain mixing in at times, the ground is warm, and the liquid to snow ratio, which is on average usually 10 to 1, could be more like 6 or 8 to 1. That really reduces the snowfall totals. So while yes, I think the chance of seeing snow is increased and maybe a minor accumulation, there's no sign that it's going to be super cold and super fluffy snow that it would jump up to like 4 or 5 inches. Now, it's a trend we'll have to watch tomorrow. If we continue to see this get colder and further south, then the snow we think on the Interstate 40 corridor right now, which I think will be accumulating and might be significant where the winter storm watch is, could get pulled to the south. So just something to keep an eye on as we go into the overnight hours. That's just my update now. So if you don't watch at 11, this will be your update. I will do a vlog tomorrow morning, and I'll have the latest on what I expect for Friday.